John and Florence Pollock were a devoted couple living in Hexham, England. They were raising their two young daughters, Joanna and Jacqueline. Joanna, the elder, was a lively child full of energy. Jacqueline, 2 years younger, possessed a quieter, more contemplative nature. The sisters shared an unbreakable bond, their laughter and games filling the Pollock household with joy. On a fateful day in May 1957, tragedy struck the Pollock family. Joanna and Jacqueline were walking to church with a friend when a speeding car careened onto the pavement. The impact was devastating, claiming the lives of all 3 children instantly. John and Florence were utterly heartbroken, their world shattered by the loss of their beloved daughters. The pain of their loss was unimaginable, leaving a void in their lives that seemed impossible to fill. The once happy home was shrouded in grief, the silence deafening without the patter of little feet and the sound of their daughters' voices. John and Florence struggled to come to terms with the tragedy, their faith tested by the cruel hand fate had dealt them.
Breaking news.
A year after the accident, Florence discovered she was pregnant. The news brought a glimmer of hope to the grieving parents. They clung to the belief that life, in some way, was offering them a chance to heal. On 4th October 1958, Florence gave birth to identical twin girls, Gillian and Jennifer. Their arrival brought a mix of joy and trepidation, a bittersweet reminder of both their loss and the potential for a new beginning. As the twins grew, their parents began to notice uncanny behaviors that sent shivers down their spines. Gillian, the elder by 10 minutes, possessed a strikingly similar personality to Joanna. She was boisterous and outgoing, her energy mirroring that of her deceased sister. Jennifer, on the other hand, was quieter and more reserved, much like Jacqueline. The similarities were not merely behavioral. Gillian and Jennifer seemed to possess an uncanny knowledge of their deceased sisters' lives, despite never having met them. They would ask for toys that had belonged to Joanna and Jacqueline, toys that had been put away after the accident. They would point to places they had never been, and refer to them by names only their deceased sisters would have known. One particularly chilling incident occurred when the family visited Hexham, the town where the accident had happened. The twins, who had never been to Hexham before, seemed to know their way around instinctively. They pointed out landmarks and buildings, describing them in detail that startled their parents. When they passed the school Joanna and Jacqueline had attended, both Gillian and Jennifer turned to their parents and exclaimed, "That's our school." On another occasion, Gillian picked up a doll belonging to Jacqueline and immediately identified it as her own. She pointed to a mark on the doll's neck and said, "That's where Jacqueline's doll was broken." The Pollocks were stunned. The mark on the doll's neck was indeed where it had been repaired after Jacqueline had accidentally dropped it. These incidents, and many others like them, led John and Florence to believe that their deceased daughters had been reborn as Gillian and Jennifer. The girls' knowledge of Joanna and Jacqueline's lives, coupled with their uncanny behaviors, seemed too specific, too detailed to be mere coincidence. The Pollocks began to entertain the possibility that reincarnation, a concept they had always considered with a healthy dose of skepticism, might hold the answer to the mystery surrounding their twins. Adding another layer of intrigue to the case were the physical similarities between the twins and their deceased sisters. Gillian bore a striking resemblance to Joanna, sharing her vibrant eyes and mischievous smile. Jennifer, though identical to Gillian, possessed a birthmark on her waist that mirrored a similar mark Jacqueline had had in the same spot. The birthmark on Jennifer's waist was particularly significant to the Pollocks. Jacqueline's mark had been caused by a buckle on her favourite pair of shoes, which she had been wearing on the day of the accident. The fact that Jennifer had a similar mark in the exact same spot seemed to be more than a mere coincidence. It fueled their belief that their deceased daughters were in some way living on through Gillian and Jennifer. The Pollocks, however, were cautious about sharing their beliefs with others. They were aware of how extraordinary their claims sounded, and they feared ridicule and disbelief. They confided in a few close friends and family members, but for the most part, they kept their thoughts and observations to themselves. It was not until they met Dr. Ian Stevenson that they felt comfortable enough to share their story with the world. Section 5, Dr. Ian Stevenson's investigation. Dr. Ian Stevenson was a Canadian-American psychiatrist who dedicated his life to studying cases of reincarnation. He traveled the world, interviewing children who claimed to remember past lives, meticulously documenting their stories and gathering evidence to support their claims. In 1964, he learned about the Pollock twins and their uncanny resemblance to their deceased sisters. Intrigued, he decided to investigate the case further. Dr. Stevenson spent several years interviewing the Pollock family, meticulously recording their observations and the twins' statements. He was particularly interested in the girls' knowledge of Joanna and Jacqueline's lives, their recognition of places they had never been, and their specific memories of the accident. He also documented the physical similarities between the twins and their deceased sisters, including Jennifer's birthmark. After years of investigation, Dr. Stevenson concluded that the Pollock twins case provided compelling evidence for reincarnation. He argued that the girls' knowledge of their deceased sisters' lives, their uncanny behaviors, and the physical similarities were too specific to be explained by coincidence or environmental factors. He believed that the Pollock twins case was one of the strongest he had ever encountered, and he included it in his book 20 Cases Suggestive of Reincarnation, published in 1966. Section 60, A Case for Skepticism. Despite the intriguing nature of the Pollock twins case, it was not without its critics. Skeptics argued that the girls' memories of their deceased sisters' lives could be explained by cryptomnesia, a phenomenon where forgotten memories resurface and are mistaken for present-day experiences. They also pointed out that the Pollocks, still grieving the loss of their daughters, might have subconsciously influenced the twins' behavior and interpreted their actions through the lens of their own grief. Furthermore, skeptics argued that the lack of empirical evidence for reincarnation weakened Dr. Stevenson's claims. Reincarnation, they argued, remained a spiritual belief, not a scientifically proven phenomenon. The Pollock twins case, while intriguing, did not provide the concrete proof needed to convince the scientific community of the validity of reincarnation. The debate between believers and skeptics raged on, with neither side able to definitively prove or disprove the claims made by the other. The Pollock twins case, like many other alleged cases of reincarnation, remained shrouded in mystery, a testament to the enduring power of the human desire to understand life, death, and the possibility of an afterlife. Section 7. The Passing of Time. As Gillian and Jennifer grew older, their memories of Joanna and Jacqueline faded. By the age of 5, the uncanny behaviors and statements that had so startled their parents ceased. Whether this was due to the natural process of forgetting or a gradual separation from their alleged past lives remains a matter of speculation. The Pollock family, choosing to move on from the tragedy and embrace the present, declined further interviews and public appearances. They wanted to provide Gillian and Jennifer with a normal childhood, shielding them from the media frenzy that had surrounded their early years. John Pollock, deeply affected by the loss of his daughters and the subsequent media attention, sadly passed away in 1982. Florence, however, lived a long life, passing away in 2002 at the age of 78. She remained convinced until her death that Gillian and Jennifer were the reincarnations of Joanna and Jacqueline, her belief unshaken by the passage of time and the fading of the twins' memories. Section 8. An Enduring Enigma. The mysterious case of the Pollock twins continues to fascinate and divide people to this day. For believers, it serves as compelling evidence for reincarnation, demonstrating the soul's ability to transcend death and be reborn into a new life. For skeptics, it remains an intriguing but ultimately explainable phenomenon, a testament to the power of the human mind to find patterns and meaning in seemingly random events. Despite decades of debate and analysis, the Pollock twins case remains an open-ended mystery. It stands as a testament to the enduring human fascination with the afterlife and the possibility that death, rather than being the end, may simply be a new beginning. Whether one chooses to believe in reincarnation or seek alternative explanations, the story of the Pollock twins serves as a powerful reminder of the mysteries that lie at the heart of the human experience.